Gina, it is an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, good to meet you.
Tell me right off the bat, the only thing I was thinking about as the credits started rolling was that I wanted more. And
Great.
I wanted to ask you, why a movie and not a series? And whether there was any point when you considered making something episodic after seeing the source material.
When I read the script, well, foremost, it came to me as a feature, and I think it deserves it. I think it deserves the bigness. It's a big global film. It has a big story to tell. It has big themes. It has scope. You know, there's something to films that can become a franchise if the audience is eager for that. There's absolutely more story to tell.
You set up quite a bit of that as well. And your movie, I found, skewed very closely to the source material, which can sometimes be a blessing and sometimes be a curse. And I was wondering what it was about these comics that you found so adaptable.
And foremost, I have to give all props to Greg Rucka. He adapted his own material. That is so rare. You know, it was all there. I fell in love with the comic. I love the way that Greg writes female characters, not just in the old guard, but all of his work. I love that it was a beautiful ensemble of warriors from all these different cultures and sexual orientations and genders that have come together to save the world. But I also love the fact that there were two women, you know, at the head of it, Andy and Nile, and that one and a young Black female hero, which is something we absolutely never get to see in movies like this.
This is the first time that you've done a movie with such big action set pieces. And we live in this post-John Wick world where people's, I guess, expectations are really high. And the thing I loved about The Old Guard was I could see where everyone was at all times. And that was so great. And I was wondering how you got that right. And was it a steep learning curve?
Yeah, I mean, there are some really big set pieces in this. And it's funny, when I first read it, the script, I'm reading it as an audience and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that looks and sounds like it's going to be really cool. And then I get the gig and I'm like, oh my God, I got to figure out how am I going to shoot this? I know there's absolutely been, it's interesting, shifts in the way that action is shot and what is hot in the moment. And John Wick absolutely, you know, change that shift where you're seeing the actor and you get to see the action. And for me, given that we were going to be having women fighting, which, you know, feels different, I wanted to just really exploit the athleticism and really show that off and show off the moves. I mean, we're talking about warriors who have been fighting for centuries and all the different techniques that they would have. I don't want to hide that. I want to show it off. And how can we have them defeat, you know, mercenaries with modern weaponry and guns, and how can we make that believable?
I loved all of those touches. And I have this one question, which is, please, God, tell me you're working on the sequel.
You know, it really is up to the audience. I know Greg Rucka, he's always envisioned this story as a trilogy. He's told me where the story goes, and it's pretty incredible. So if the audience wants it, there's absolutely more story to tell.
Yeah, you managed to strike a fantastic balance between being faithful and not slavish. Because I was doing a side-by-side comparison with the comic book, and I'm so glad you included that scene in the van. And I was wondering if there was anything in the comic book that you really wanted to put in that you couldn't.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Well, foremost, I love the graphic novel. And when I went back and read the graphic novel, I was saying, hey, Greg, can we put this in? Can we also put this in? Why'd you take this out? Put this in. Because there's so much great stuff. Obviously, in translating it to a film, we can't put in everything. But one of the things that I absolutely loved in the graphic novel was illustrating how Joe and Nikki met for the first time. The fact that they keep killing each other over and over until everybody around them is dead and they're the last two standing. And then suddenly you're looking at the love of your life. That is dope. I would have loved to have done that. And hopefully maybe that will show up in another one.
Very cool. Gina, that's my time. Thank you so much for yours. And I really need that t-shirt. See you later and stay safe.